Good afternoon, one and all. I have great pleasure to introduce the distinguished resource person, Professor S. Aramugam. He is at present the Adjunct Professor, Department of Mathematics, Amartha Vishwavidyapeetham, Coimbatore. He has numerous publications in Science Citation Index, highly reputed international journals, and more than 20 books in his credit. He has successfully guided more than 44 students for doctoral degree and co-guided many students. Was a recipient of Lifetime Achievement Award by GATR Malaysia, is a member of the editorial board of many journals, is a referee to various reputed international journals, and was an organizer for a number of international conferences and workshops. He has visited many universities and delivered invited talks all over the world. Today, he will continue his discussion on some new research directions in domination in graphs. With this brief introduction, I invite Professor S. Armugam to handle the session. Sir, please, sir, over to you.
Fine. Thank you very much, Jane. So today I am going to talk about two recent developments on domination in graphs. One is called certified domination, which was introduced by Tetlov et al. And published in AKC journal last year. The other topic is also published last year in AKC journal. That's by Hedetnami and his co-authors on collision graph. So we shall talk about certified domination for about 40 minutes and then collision partition for the second half of the lecture. This certified domination is motivated by a very interesting practical problem. You have a social network. There we have a set of officials and set of civils. So for any X in W, a civil, there is an official who can serve X. In other words, the officials form a dominating set, essentially speaking. So for any civil, there's at least one official who can serve him. And the second condition he's putting is that whenever an official is serving X, there's another civil Y which observes the official V. Yes, he is also adjacent to V and is observing the servicing mechanism. In other words, the civil Y is a sort of witness, and he makes sure that the official doesn't abuse the civil under any situation. So this is the problem. And how to model this problem as a graph theoretic concept. So that is the motivation. So in a social network, we have a set of officials and set of civils, and every civil can get a service from official, but with the additional condition that whenever an official serves a civil, there's another civil who acts as a witness. So this is to be modeled as a problem. Okay. So motivation is this, and the concept is what is called certified domination. So take a graph G, take a dominating set D. So imagine that the dominating set consists of officials. Okay. So it's called a certified dominating set if for every vertex in the dominating set, the number of neighbors outside D is either 0 or at least 2. Okay. In other words, a vertex in the dominating set cannot be adjacent to exactly one vertex in D minus D. If that happens, then when we search him, the witness will not be present. So we stop that. An official may not serve anybody at all. He may be overlooking the entire service mechanism. Okay. Whenever he serves somebody, there's another one adjacent to him and watching. That's it. So that is now put as a condition that for every vertex in the dominating set, the number of neighbors outside the dominating set is at least 2. It's either no or at least 2. And such a set is called a certified dominating set. And the minimum cardinality of a certified dominating set is a certified domination number of the graphs. Okay. So it is slightly more than dominating. For example, you take this tree, I have marked 7 vertices, V1, V2, V3, V4, and V5, V6, V7. You see that there is, imagine that there are officials. See, V1 has 2 neighbors outside. Or V1, V2, V3, V4 have 2 neighbors outside. And V5 has 4 neighbors outside. V7 and V6 has 0 neighbors outside. So this is a certified dominating set. Okay. Every vertex in the dominating set has either no neighbor in V minus T or at least 2 neighbors in V minus T. That is happening in this example. This is the minimum. Why this is the minimum? You see, V1, V2, V3, V4 are essential for domination purpose. Okay. Now, suppose you remove V6. It is still dominating, no problem. But then V7 will have exactly 1 neighbor in V minus T, which is prevented in certified domination. So I can't keep V6 outside the dominating set. Similarly, I can't keep V7 outside the dominating set. If I keep V7 outside, then V6 has exactly 1 neighbor outside, which is not permitted. So you see that I am forced to put V6 and V7 in the certified dominating set. So these 7 vertices form the minimum certified dominating set for this tree. So gamma CER equal to 7. Whereas gamma is 6. Okay. Because I can omit one of them. For gamma, I can omit one of them. Okay. Fine. So for path Pn, for P1 and P3, it is simply 1, no problem. For P2, you see, you have to take both the vertices. P2 has only 2 vertices. If you take only one of them, then the condition is violated. He has only 1 neighbor outside. So here's an important thing to note. Even for P2, we have to take both the vertices. For P4, you take all the 4 vertices. Why? You take, imagine P4, your usual dominating set is any 2 vertices. Any 2 vertices will form a dominating set for P4. No, not any 2, the pendant and one more. V1, V3 or V2, V4. They form a dominating set. But V1, V3 is not a certified dominating set because V3 has exactly 1 neighbor outside. So such problems will arise. One of them will have exactly 1 neighbor outside. So you take all the 4 vertices for P4. And afterwards it is ceiling n by 3. So this is the situation for certified dominating number of a path. Same thing for cycle, it is n over 3, ceiling n over 3. For complete graph, except for n equal to 2, it is the domination number 1. For n equal to 2 alone, you have to take both of them, as I pointed out for P2. And for complete bipartite graph, if both of them have more than 2 vertices, it's a usual domination number, no problem. Otherwise, it is 1. If it's a star, it is 1. Okay. It's clear that every support vertex must lie in all certified dominating sets. What's a support vertex? A vertex is called a support vertex if it has a pendant neighbor. Okay. There's a neighbor with degree 1. Such a vertex is called a support vertex. So all the support vertices must lie in every certified dominating set. Okay. In particular, you see that if you take any graph with corona K1, what happens? Let us see. Take any graph with corona K1, then all vertices of H are set support vertices. Okay, all the vertices of H are support vertices. So you must include them in any certified dominating set. Now you look at the pendant. Suppose that pendant is not included, then the corresponding support has exactly one neighbor outside, which contradicts the definition of certified domination. That means the pendants also have to be put inside. So you see that G corona K1, G equal to H corona K1 has an interesting property that the certified domination is the whole graph, whole vertex set. The number is n. Whereas gamma is only n by 2, mod VH. VH is a gamma set, VG is a gamma CR set. So gamma CR can be much larger than gamma, as shown in this example. Okay, gamma CR can be much larger than gamma. In fact, this is a characterization. For a graph G, gamma CR equal to n, the total number of vertices, if and only if it is Kn bar or corona plus isolated vertices. It's completely characterized. So gamma CR is n if and only if this situation, a corona connected graph or corona plus isolated vertices. That's all. This if and only if. So gamma CR is n if and only if it is this graph. It can never be n minus 1. Gamma CR can never be n minus 1, because if you take a neighbor of that omitted vertex, that vertex has exactly one neighbor outside, contradicting the definition of certified domination. So gamma CR can never be n minus 1. It's equal to n if and only if this graph. So natural question is, gamma CR equal to n minus 2 when? Okay, gamma CR equal to n minus 2 if and only if. What's the answer for that? Okay, let us look at this problem. For example, I give a simple example. Take C4. What is gamma CR set? It is simply gamma. Because take two non-adjacent vertices. In C4, take two non-adjacent vertices. Every vertex has two neighbors outside, no problem. So it's a certified dominating set. So gamma CR is 2, which is n minus 2. For C4, gamma CR is n minus 2. Again, for C3, gamma CR is n minus 2, because it is 1. For C3, gamma CR is 1, which is n minus 2. I'll give one more family of graphs. So you take this corona, at one vertex alone put extra pendant vertex. What will happen now? Take the corona of any graph, at one vertex alone put two pendants. What is gamma CR for this graph? Okay, what is gamma CR for this graph? At one vertex alone I have put two pendants. So that's a strong support vertex. The support vertex is called strong if it has more than one pendant neighbor. Otherwise, it's weak. Okay. So in H cross K1, in H corona K1, put at one vertex extra pendant. Then those two pendant vertices you can omit in the certified dominating set. All the other vertices you have to include. So for that graph also, gamma CR is n minus 2. So I have given three classes of graphs with gamma CR equal to n minus 2. One is C4, the other is C3, third one is corona with additional property that one vertex has two pendants. These are graphs with gamma CR equal to n minus 2. And it has been proved that for a connected graph, gamma CR is n minus 2 if and only if it is one of these three graphs. It's completely characterized. So gamma CR equal to n minus 2 if and only if the graph is C3, C4 or a corona with exactly one vertex having two pendants. So this is exactly the family of graphs for which gamma CR is n minus 2. So the next natural problem is when it is n minus 3. That is unsolved. We can try to work out for which graphs gamma CR equal to n minus 3. The first unsolved problem from the above, okay, from the top, you come down. N we know if and only if. N minus 1, there is no graph. N minus 2, we know if and only if. So n minus 3 seems to be the first problem from the top side. Okay. From the lower side, okay, this is another major problem. When gamma C are equal to gamma G, there are several graphs for which equality happens. You go back, for example, you take complete bipartite graph Kmn, where both m and n are greater than or equal to 2, you see that gamma CR is 2 and gamma is 2. See? And for the complete graph Kn with more than 2 vertices, gamma CR and gamma are both equal to 1. For most of the cycles, gamma CR and gamma are equal. For most of the paths, gamma CR and gamma are equal. So there are several classes of graphs where gamma CR and gamma are equal. And there's also several classes of graphs where it's completely different, as you see from the H corona K1. Here gamma CR is n and gamma is n by 2. Okay, fine. So this is a very interesting fundamental problem for which graphs the certified domination number and domination number are both equal. Okay. The infinite families for which equality is true and infinite families for which the equality is not true. Okay. So it's a big class of graphs. Fine. Okay. Now, I'll give some other interesting problems that we have worked out. What about the algorithmic complexity of finding the certified domination number of a graph? Is it NP complete? Okay. We analyzed this problem and we proved that first, for split graph, the problem remains NP complete. What's a split graph? See, bipartite graph. Vertex set is partitioned into two independent sets. Okay, the vertex set is partitioned into two independent sets. For split graph, one part is click, another part is independent. The vertex set can be partitioned into two subsets V1 and V2, such that V1 forms a click and V2 forms an independent set. Such a graph is called a split graph. And we have proved that the certified domination problem determining the certified domination number is NP complete for split graphs. We have reduced the problem from the exact 3-cover problem, which is a non-NP complete problem, and from that we constructed an instance of the certified domination number problem, that is a graph, and we proved that the exact 3-cover problem has a yes answer if and only if the certified domination problem has an yes answer, thus showing that the certified domination number problem is NP complete for split graphs. Okay. Then we thought of looking at bipartite graphs, for which bipartite graphs gamma CR can be solved polynomially or still remains NP complete. For this, there are several subfamilies of bipartite graphs which are extensively studied in the algorithmic context. One such family is called what we call tree-convex bipartite graphs. It's perhaps a new concept for most of you. Tree-convex bipartite graph. I will explain what it is. Take a bipartite graph with bipartition A comma B. A is a partite set, B is the other partite set. Okay. Associate a tree with this bipartite graph whose vertex set is A. Okay. The bipartition is AB. Take one partite set as the vertex set and get a tree. So I associate a tree having the vertex set as one of the partite sets and with an additional property. What's additional property? You take any vertex V in the other partite set B. Look at its neighbors. It's a subset of A. That subset must induce a subtree of the tree T. Then the bipartite graph is called tree-convex bipartite graph. Let me repeat the definition. A bipartite graph with bipartition A comma B is called a tree-convex bipartite graph. If there is a tree T with vertex set capital A such that for every vertex in the other partition, the subgraph of the tree induced by the neighbors of V is subtree of T. It's a connected graph in the tree. In such a case, we call the graph as a tree-convex bipartite graph. Okay. If the associated tree is a star, it is called star-convex bipartite graph. If the associated tree is a comb means path corona K1, a path with a pendant everywhere. It looks like a comb. Okay. Then it is called a comb-convex bipartite graph. And in our paper, we proved that the certified domination number problem remains NP complete for comb-convex bipartite graphs and star-convex bipartite graphs. So even in a subfamily of bipartite graphs, the certified domination number problem remains NP complete. Okay. So this is the algorithmic side of the certified domination number problem. Another interesting problem is what happens to the certified domination on deletion of an edge. Sometimes for a deletion of every edge it comes down or it goes up. So the authors of this base paper called such graphs as critical graphs. In this base paper, they introduced the concept of critical graphs for certified domination. Critical graph means gamma CR of G minus E strictly less than gamma CR of G for every edge G. It should happen for every edge. Then it is called critical. For example, it happens for C4. For C4, gamma CR is 2. You delete any vertex, it becomes 4. Plus the path. 3, it's 1. Okay, it's 1. It comes down. So C4 is an example of a critical certified domination graphs. So characterize critical certified domination graphs is an interesting unsolved problem. Okay. And then there are some nice bounds and finding extremal graphs for the bound is a very interesting problem. See, for example, take a graph of order n. Suppose it has k strong support vertices. What are strong support vertices? A support vertex having more than one pendant adjacent to it. Okay, support vertex having more than one pendant adjacent to it. Take all the support vertices, all the pendant vertices which are adjacent to strong support vertices. assume that that number is k, then the certified domination number is less than or equal to n minus k. Let me repeat. Simplest example is take a star, k1 comma n. N is more than 2. Then it says the center is a strong support vertex. Everything else is pendant. So n minus k is 1. Just gamma CR is 1. Okay. You take a bistar. Take a edge with 2 pendants on each side. Take an edge with 2 pendants or more than 1 pendant on each side. Then the 2 vertices on the edge forms a certified dominating set. Okay. The pendants can be deleted. Because we have more than 1 pendant, so we are safe. So that is the bound. So gamma CER is less than or equal to n minus k, where k is the total number of pendant vertices adjacent to strong support vertices in the graph. And there are so many graphs for which equality is true. So characterize graphs for which gamma CR is attaining the bound is a nice problem. In general, gamma CER is less than or equal to n minus twice the number of strong support vertices. And gamma CR is less than or equal to gamma G plus the number of support vertices. Take the dominating set and put all the support vertices, and gamma CR is less than or equal to this number. Again, the corona is a very good example. Okay, the corona, H corona K1 is a very good example. The pendants form a dominating set, and the verts of H form a support vertices. And gamma CR consists of the dominating set plus the support vertices. See, it always, so gamma CR is less than or equal to gamma G plus the number of support vertices, number of weak support vertices. Okay, gamma CR is less than or equal to gamma G plus the number of weak support vertices. Then we can try to characterize graphs for which equality holds. Okay. Now, simple problem is determine the gamma CR for tree. How to find the certified domination number of a tree? Why I am taking tree? We are sure of support vertices. In a tree, we are sure of having support vertices. So that may help us to solve the problem easily. Because we are already a problem saying that gamma CR is gamma plus the number of weak support vertices, less than or equal to. Gamma CR is less than or equal to gamma G plus the number of weak support vertices. So with that knowledge, one can try to determine the certified domination number of a tree. Okay, certified domination number of a tree. It's a very interesting unsolved problem. Okay. Fine. For the problem gamma CR equal to gamma G, some sufficient conditions or necessary conditions have been found, though the full characterization is not there. For example, if a graph has a unique gamma set, then gamma CR and gamma are equal. If a graph G has a unique gamma set, the two numbers are equal. Is it obvious? They have proved it in the base paper. Okay, it has been proved in the base paper that if a graph has a unique gamma set, then gamma CR and gamma are equal. Okay. So that is one condition. Then if a graph has a leaf vertices, there are some conditions under which gamma CR equal to gamma. There is no weak support, then the problem is easily manageable. Okay, if there is no weak support vertex. That's the minimum degree is 2, but there's no weak support vertex. The problem seems to be easy. Okay. So this is about some basic facts about certified dominating set. They have presented some results on Navier-Stokes type result for this parameter, and still perhaps those parameters, those results can be improved further. I have proposed a new variant, and that we have already started working, and we are at the point of completing 2 papers on that. See, let us look at the motivation problem. Motivation again. What's the motivation for the problem? A set of officials are serving a set of civils, and we are putting the condition that whenever an official serves a civil, another civil is standing as a witness. Okay, another civil is standing as a witness. But the servicing mechanism can be made more efficient if among the set of officials, there's one official which controls the whole thing. Suppose there's one official which is adjacent to all the remaining officials. Then you see that official can completely control the service mechanism. Okay, that's more, that the service mechanism will be more efficiently monitored if there is one official who is appointed as a leader and who is adjacent to all the remaining officials in the graph. In other words, that official doesn't serve anybody, but he is monitoring every other official who is serving. Okay. So this I thought is a more natural or more efficient way of providing a satisfactory servicing mechanism. So with this in mind, I proposed a concept called full degree certified dominating set. What's a full degree certified dominating set? It's a certified dominating set with the additional property that there's one vertex in the dominating set which has full degree in that induced subgraph of D. In other words, the subgraph induced by D contains a star, spanning star. Okay, such a certified dominating set I call full degree certified dominating set, and the corresponding domination number I call full degree certified domination number. And we have finished a very good paper on this concept, and it is likely to be communicated for publication in this week itself. It's a more practical way of providing a efficient service mechanism. Okay. Another thing is, suppose you have a certified dominating set. Suppose it's a total dominating set. D is a total dominating set. That means what? Total dominating set means for the vertex in the dominating set, there is another fellow in the dominating set who is a neighbor. So in the motivational situation, what does it mean? When an official serves a civil, another civil is standing as a witness, another official is monitoring it. Because if this is a total dominating set, another official is adjusted to an official. So if a certified dominating set is a total dominating set, then the servicing mechanism has a very interesting property that whenever a service is taking place, there's a witness to the service and there is a monitor for a service. Another official is monitoring the service, another civil is witnessing the service. That is also more practical, right? So total certified domination is more meaningful in the context of this motivation. So we have defined total certified dominating set and the total certified domination number, and our paper on this concept is also almost ready towards communication. So as on today, we have two published papers on certified domination. One is the base paper, another one is on algorithmic concepts, and the two papers are on the way. And one can look at connected certified domination, and we can put other conditions. Can there be an independent certified domination? But independent is not good from the practical application perspective, but theoretically it can happen. The officials are not at all coordinating with each other. It's a very bad situation, right? So how to prevent such a bad situation? How to prevent an independent certified dominating set? So in that way, it is worth studying as a theory. So we can put additional conditions on certified domination, okay? Because there are so many domination models, okay? There are so many domination models. Try to impose some relevant conditions on the certified dominating set so that you get a new parameter and analyze that parameter. So independence is a good concept, but it's negative in the application perspective, but it's good, okay? That so we can avoid that situation. How to avoid such a situation? Okay. So these are all problems for further investigation on certified domination in graphs. There's a good scope for work. Okay. In the base graph, in the base certified domination system, we have several unsolved problems. Finding more tight bounds is really a difficult question for gamma CER because it goes up to n. It goes up to n. N minus 2 we have completely characterized. But can we come down? For example, can we characterize graphs for which certified domination number is less than or equal to n by 2? That will be a good thing. Okay? Because I don't want too many officials in the service mechanism. They must be small in number. So try to concentrate on graphs with small certified domination number. Go from bottom. From 1, 2, and 3. Go from bottom. Try to characterize graphs with certified domination number small. 3 or 4 like that. Because that is practically more important. So try to find good lower bounds for gamma CR. Good lower bounds. And try to characterize graphs with gamma CR less than or equal to k, where k is sufficiently small. Say less than or equal to n by 2. Such problems are practically important. Okay, so finding tight upper and lower bounds and try to find certified domination number sufficiently small, not too big, not more than half times. Okay, there are such interesting problems which are worth investigating further. So these are some of the major aspects of certified domination with good application perspective. Okay, fine. Now we can break for some questions. Yes, it's a good concept for working further. We have written 2 papers now on full degree certified domination and total certified domination. There itself we have further open problems that I will discuss in a subsequent seminar. Okay, so now we can look at other things. What are the other conditions that we can naturally impose, which is meaningful in the application context? We can think about. If you have any suggestions, we can openly discuss. It's a completely new idea. What are the other natural conditions which is meaningful in the practical application scenario? See, total and full degree are very meaningful in the application scenario. Can you think of similar meaningful restrictions we can put on the certified dominating set that's significant in the application perspective? That's the first question that they want. Your comments. If you have any idea, we can work on that. Okay. What is another reasonable condition to be imposed on certified dominating set? That is, I don't have an answer. I'm putting a question. Any other reasonable condition we can impose on certified dominating sets and develop the theory of that new parameter? That's an interesting question. Any comments? Anyone can suggest comments now. Questions are also welcome. Comments, questions.
In your paper, the algorithmic study have been done about the gamma CERG.
Right.
In your paper?
Right. Yeah, yes. It's my collaboration with NIT Warangal.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you said that it's polynomial NP complete problem.
It is NP complete for split graph and
in
even
many
for
cases.
subfamilies of bipartite graphs.
Okay.
So for which graphs it has a polynomial time algorithm, we can investigate.
Okay.
Try
That
to
is still
find-
open.
That's open. Try to find families of graphs for which gamma CR can be computed in polynomial time. That's an interesting problem.
Exactly, sir. It's
Yeah.
a very interesting problem.
That's an interesting
sir.
problem.
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah.
Sir, just now you told about that full degree certified domination. I was just
Right.
thinking, how is it possible for path cycle? Like, where will be the vertex such that E will
Right. Okay. Not every graph has a full degree certified dominating set.
Okay, sir. Okay, that was the
That's the
doubt. Like,
first thing. That's the
yeah.
first thing. We have got a characterization, almost characterized. Its diameter must be less than or equal to 4.
okay,
That's the
okay,
first necessary condition. But for application perspective, it is not a problem. You take any graph, take a certified dominating set, add a new vertex, and join it to all the vertices in the dominating set.
I should do embedding. Like, I should include one vertex
You
adding.
put one vertex and make it adjacent to all the vertices of the certified dominating set. We are through.
That will work,
So
sir.
the
Yes,
problem can be easily managed in the practical life.
sir.
So all graphs do not have certified dominating set. Every graph can be embedded in a graph with a certified dominating set.
Okay.
Just by adding one vertex.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So in that way, I can overcome the problem.
And one more thing is, sir, like you told about now total certified domination.
Right.
Can we think about Roman certified domination, Roman domination? Is it possible? Like, I don't know. So, like, it is a function, whereas Roman domination, we use a function.
There is it. There the problem is God moving to another place. You see,
Yes, sir, yeah.
the vertex leaving the dominating set and somebody else entering the dominating set. See, the here an official cannot become a civil.
Okay. Yeah, true, sir. That is well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Roman is not good, but you have to think of some properties of the set that may be meaningful for the practical application side.
Like something efficient dominating, perfect dominating.
Yeah, something like.
Yes.
Perfect may be very difficult because you want exactly one official for a particular person. That is practically not easy.
Yes, sir, yeah.
It won't be interesting.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Perhaps we can put a condition that yes, an official can at most serve K members. That's a practical thing we can put. So that servicing is minimized, servicing time is minimized, waiting time is minimized.
K domination.
An official, a member in the dominating set dominates at most K members, fixed K.
Yes, sir.
Right. That we
Yeah.
put as an additional restriction
Okay.
and give some name for this. degree. You are restricting the degree. So that if the 4 members are waiting for service, one official is serving, others have to wait. That waiting time can be minimized if the number of persons allotted to a particular official is restricted. That is practically interesting. So you can say degree of any vertex in the dominating set is less than or equal to k, something like that. Maybe a good restriction.
And even in that full certified domination and certified domination, I can characterize, like full degree certified domination is equal to certified domination, one characterization. If
Right.
it is not equal, then we can do embending.
Yes, +1. That's it. Right. It may not exist otherwise. Okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Does independent dominating sets form certified dominating sets for an arbitrary graph?
Yeah, any graph has a certified dominating set. Whole set is trivially a certified dominating set.
That is VG.
Right. That is trivial.
No, I take a subset which is independent set. Let us say.
That's only that Corona is the exam. That's even only if you see that.
Oh.
Gamma CER equal to n if and only if it is Kn bar or the Corona or the union of them.
Okay.
For all other graphs, we have a proper certified dominating set.
Can
Okay, that's fully
some-
characterized.
any result with reference to independent dominating set and certified dominating?
No one has done that.
Nobody has done that.
No one has done independent certified domination.
No. I didn't mean that.
Ah,
Ordinary independent dominating sets and certified dominating sets.
that
Is
is
there any relation?
a certified dominating set, which is also independent set. That's meaning. Right?
Yeah.
That has not been studied.
Okay.
That is not been studied. That's a set that is to be avoided. In that way, it is worth studying. That's what I told. Yes.
So just a clarification, sir.
Right.
There was characterize those certified domination. The domination certified is equal to domination.
Not completely.
Complete. What about grid graphs? So Pn cross Pm, it will be domination. It will be that dominating set will be equal to certified dominating set. Correct, no, sir? Is it true? If
Yes. Right. It may be correct.
Pn cross Pm.
Yeah. The result which they have told, let me just check the result. When it is gamma,
because there are no weak supports.
right?
Exactly, all are strong supporters there.
Right. Correct. If there is no support vertex, we are comfortable, I think. Only when pendant vertices are coming, we are going to have a problem. See, if there is a gamma set D such that for any support vertex, the neighbors minus leaf is not contained in D, then gamma CR equal to gamma. That is the base theorem they have proved in the base paper.
Okay, sir. Okay.
So when there is no leaf, we are safe, I think. So for grid graph, they must be equal.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Most probably. Correct. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, I would like to have another clarification. And the usual domination number is always a lower bound for gamma CERG.
Correct.
Yeah. And is there any upper bound for any graph?
Any upper bound for?
Gamma CER of G.
That is, it can go up to n. That's what you have referred to. It's going.
Yeah, that is an, okay.
N minus 1.
So it cannot.
N minus 2, we have finished completely. So we have to now look at gamma CR less than or equal to k for small k. That will be an interesting problem.
Yeah. So whenever we are finding out, whenever we are trying to find out gamma CR of G, the usual procedure is to start with a dominating set.
And see what is to be added
Yeah.
to make it
Is that the process actually?
that process may not always work. For example, take corona, and take the base graph is a dominating set,
Exactly.
already dominating set.
Yeah.
Now to make it, why it is not certified?
Because it has
Because
single neighbors outside.
it is dominating only one fellow outside.
Exactly.
So I have to put them inside.
So that won't work.
So that may not always work, but we have to find. See, algorithmically, the problem is difficult. Okay, so we may not have easy method of finding it. Only for special families of graphs, we may have to find a polynomial time algorithm. In general, it is difficult. Okay, even for split graph, it is difficult. Perhaps we can try for, is it polynomially solvable for tree? That is itself is a nice question. Can we find the gamma CR of a tree quickly? That is the most promising problem, which can be easily solved, in my opinion. Because we have us leaves and support vertices, we can easily manipulate with them. Yes.
But thinking about its application side, we are starting with an application actually now.
Right,
So
right.
is the tree structure, do it have any application side?
Which one?
The tree structure. The tree structure means.
Application, the concept is motivated by an example, but we can theoretically investigate it for any graph.
That's okay. Correct.
That's not a problem.
Okay.
Concept is meaningful for application-oriented thing. Because today you see the hospitals are serving the patients in this pandemic situation. There is numerous complaints all over the country that for a particular patient, his relative complains that the service is not proper for my relative, right?
Yeah.
So how to prevent that? That is this model. So we shall put a witness for the service.
Yeah.
That's it. So in that way, in that sense, the problem is interesting. Yeah. Good. It's nice that we had a good interaction. Hope we'll be able to. There's a lot of scope to work further by putting more and more conditions. Okay. Shall we move on to
Sir,
next topic? The last part of the.
sir,
Can we move on to the next topic?
am I audible, sir?
Yes.
Sir, can you please explain once again what happened when a graph has a unique dominating set?
When the graph has a unique gamma set.
Gamma set.
When the graph has a unique gamma set, then gamma CR and gamma are equal. There's a theorem proved in the base paper.
Okay.
Graph G has a unique gamma set.
Yes.
Okay. See, for
Thanks.
example, the simplest thing is take any graph, put two pendants everywhere.
Yes.
That is G corona K2 bar.
Okay.
Yeah, at every vertex you have two pendants, right?
Yes.
So what is gamma set here?
Yes. Gamma
The
itself.
base graph. Right?
Okay.
The base graph is the gamma set. That's a unique gamma set.
Okay.
Because if you omit the base vertex, you have to put both the pendants inside. So it will not be good. So H corona K2 bar has a unique gamma set. Is that correct?
Yes.
And in that graph, gamma and gamma CR are equal.
Okay.
So the authors have proved that if G is any graph having a unique gamma set, then gamma and gamma CR are equal. A necessary condition. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
stars also have unique minimum
Yeah.
dominating sets. Stars, they have unique minimum dominating set.
Yes, for it is just one, right?
Right, one. So in that case, gamma CR certified is equal to gamma is equal to 1.
There's unique gamma set, namely the center.
Center.
The center is a unique gamma set, right?
Correct.
Whenever
So
there's a unique gamma set,
D is only singleton vertex. V minus D has all the pendant
that is not the
vertices.
thing. There's a unique gamma set. Okay?
Correct.
Therefore, gamma and gamma CR are equal. That's the theorem.
That is the theorem base.
That they have proved in the paper.
Okay. But does that correlate with the definition of certified gamma set?
Certified
Gamma set for D, we want neighborhood of V. Intersection of V minus D must be at least 2.
At least 2.
So
Either
if
zero
I take K1 M greater than or equal to 2, it will be
right.
K.
Right.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
For K2, it is 2. That's what I point. That's the exceptional case. For P2, it becomes 2.
Correct.
Okay. That's an exceptional case.
That is the only case.
Yeah.
Correct.
Right. Good. Shall we move on to the next topic? Okay. Shall we start with the next topic called collisions in graphs? Some of you might have listened to this talk. I gave it in Mangalore last year, but I have now got more things to say. It's again a paper by Hedetnami and his team, which is published in our AKC journal last year. Okay. There are 2 Hedetnamis as authors of the paper, the father and the son. Stephen Hedetnami is the father, Jason is his son, and a few more co-authors. So this is the place where they introduced the concept of collision in graph. Okay. Again, there's a motivation for the concept. Especially in Indian context, it is very, very relevant. In a political system, when an election takes place for a particular state, an assembly election, the election results come out and no party has an absolute majority. What will happen? Okay, no party gets absolute majority. Then they try to form coalition, right? 2 parties come together and try to form the government. They want to model this situation, and that is what they call coalition. Okay. So what is a coalition? It comes from a coalition cabinet, a ministry where 2 or more parties come together to form the cabinet, to rule the system. So that is the motivation for introducing this concept. So they have got a graph theoretic model to address this problem. Okay. So what is a collision in a graph G? A collision in a graph G consists of 2 disjoint sets of vertices such that neither of them is a dominating set, but the union is a dominating set. Does it catch the concept? A collision in a graph consists of 2 disjoint sets V1 and V2 such that neither of them is a dominating set, but the union is a dominating set. Then we say that V1 and V2 are collision partners. They form a collision and they are collision partners. See, does it convey the meaning, the motivation? Okay. No set has absolute majority, but there is a partner with whom they get an absolute majority. Okay. So that is what they are trying to model using the study of domination. So collision in a graph is a two disjoint sets. Neither of them is dominating, but the union is dominating. Okay. Such a pair is called a collision. They are collision partners. Okay. Fine. See, partitioning the vertex set of a graph into subsets with specified property we come across in almost all parts of graph theory. For example, coloring, as I pointed out yesterday, is a partition of the vertex set into independent sets. And the minimum order of such a partition is a chromatic number. This analogous situation called domatic number. What is domatic number of a graph? So you are partitioning the vertex set into dominating sets. Consider a partition of V into dominating sets. If you ask for minimum order of such a partition, the question is meaningless. Why? You want to partition the vertex set of a graph into dominating sets. Asking for minimum order of such a partition is meaningless because the whole set is a dominating set. Okay. So you go for maximum order of a partition of a graph into dominating sets. That is called the domatic number of the graph G. Okay. Domatic number of the graph is the maximum order of a partition of V into dominating sets. Okay. For example, to take the complete bipartite graph K4, complete bipartite graph K4, what is the domatic number of the graph? If you understood, you can easily find it out. The domatic number of the complete bipartite graph K4, I have made it easy. 4, 4. Okay.
4.
It is 4. Domatic number is 4. Because take V1 and W1, V2 and W2, V3 and W3, and V4 and W4 as partitions, right? They are dominating sets. It partitions the whole vertex set. So the domatic number is 4. Right? So domatic number of a graph is maximum order of a partition of V into dominating sets. This will play a crucial role in our discussion. Okay. Similarly, the authors are defining collision partition. So it's a partition parameter. I want to partition the vertex set into subsets V1, V2, Vk, such that if a set is dominating, it is only a singleton set. Okay, that is, any set here with cardinality more than 2, more than 1 is not a dominating set. That's the first condition. Okay, but it has a collision partner. Is it clear? A collision partition or a C partition is a vertex partition V1, V2, Vk such that a vertex is either a singleton dominating set or it is not a dominating set but has collision partner Vj in the partition. Such a partition is called a collision partition. Why you are putting this condition that it's a singleton dominating set? We simply say each V is not a dominating set. Then when a full degree appears, a partition will not come. If you only demand that every non-dominating set has a collision partner, such a partition may not exist. Just to avoid that, they have put that as a special condition. So a partition of the vertex set into subsets such that every subset of cardinality greater than or equal to 2 is not a dominating set, but it has a collision partner. There is another set Vj, which is also not a dominating set, but the pair forms a collision. That's the union forms a dominating set. So such a partition is called a collision partition, and the maximum order of a collision partition is called the collision partition number, C partition number. Okay. It is noted by C of G.
Does that mean other than singleton dominating sets, any two Vi, Vj union suffices to form a dominating set?
Right. Any set with cardinality greater than or equal to 2 is not a dominating set.
Correct.
But however, there's a partner.
There's only one unique partner.
At least one.
At least one. So more than one is not required. That means Vi, Vj are enough. Vi, Vj, Vk is not required.
Right, not required.
Okay. Thank you.
Every non-dominating set has a non-dominating set which is a partner. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah. So such a partition is called collision partition. And they talk about the maximum order of such a partition and call it the collision partition number and denote it by the symbol capital C of G. That's a collision number of the graph. Okay. The maximum order of a collision partition. Good. I'll give you a simple example. Take P6. I give you a partition. See, V1, V6, two pendants I have put, and all the other things I have put a singleton set. Okay? So here, no set is a dominating set in the partition. No set is a dominating set. Does everyone has a collision partner? For V1, V6, who is a collision partner? For the set V1, V6, V4 is a partner, right? V4 is a collision partner for V1, V5, V6. Who is a collision partner for V2?
Even V3 will be a collision partner.
Yes, V3 is also a collision partner. So it has two collision partners. Good.
So there can be more than one collision partner.
There can be more than one. For V2, who is a collision partner?
V5.
It has a unique collision partner. Okay. For V3, who is a collision partner?
V1, V6.
Only V1, V2. Only V1, V2. That's all. So this is a collision partition. Can you say that it is the partition number is 5? Collision partition.
For V3, there are more than one partner.
Yes, more than one partner is there. For V3, V5 is not a partner because V4 is not dominating. V1 is not dominating.
V1, V5, V6 or V1, V5 can be there.
V1, see for V3, who is a collision partner? For V3,
V1,
who is a collision partner?
V1, V6.
V1, V6. Partner. Nobody else.
Okay. In that partition, yes.
Yes, in that partition. You look at the partition.
Okay. So the partition need not be unique.
Partition need not be unique.
Okay.
Right. Now the question is that the maximum? See, what is the definition of CG? The maximum.
The maximum order.
Of a collision partition. Here I have a collision partition of order 5. Can you show that if you take all singletons as partition, it is not a collision partition? Take all singletons as partition.
Because two pendant vertices are there.
They don't have a partner.
Yeah, they cannot.
Yeah. Therefore, the collision partition number of P6 is 5. Right?
Correct.
The collision partition number of P6 is 5. What is the collision partition number of the complete graph? Very trivial question. What is the collision partition number of the complete graph?
N.
N.
N. Because every singleton is a dominating set. There is no collision at all.
Correct.
There is no collision at all. It is N. Okay? It is N. Right. Is there any other graph for which collision partition number is N other than the complete graph? The answer is the complete bipartite graph.
Complete bipartite graph.
The complete bipartite graph KRS. Take all the singletons. Take the singleton partition of complete KRS. Is
Union of any two sets will form, provided they are in the other set.
Yes, they both are more than 2. R and S are more than 2.
Correct. And any edge, endpoints of any edge forms a dominating set.
Right. Therefore, what is the collision number? What's the collision number of the graph?
R plus S.
R plus S.
It's N, yes, whole N. R plus S. It's whole N. So there are several classes of graphs for which the collision number is N. Okay? Complete graph has collision number N. Complete bipartite graph has collision number N. Characterized graphs for which collision number is N. Good problem. Okay? Characterized graphs for which collision number is N. Such a graph must have gamma equal to 2. Is that correct? If a graph has collision number N, gamma must be 2, necessarily.
No, for complete graphs it is not the case.
You give that exemption. Omit that.
Complete graph is 1.
Yes, complete graph is the only exception. Because for a strict collision partition, there are non-dominating sets present there. See, gamma is 1 means C will be N if and only if gamma is 1 and Kn. When gamma is 1, C gamma is N if and only if G equal to Kn. Otherwise, gamma can be 2 and still C gamma can be N. That is the CKRS, right? So if gamma is not equal to 1 and the collision number is N, what can you say about gamma? Gamma not equal to 1 and the collision number is N.
Just to be Kmn with M equal to N.
Yeah. In that case, what is gamma value of gamma?
Gamma should be 2.
Should be 2.
Gamma is 2.
Should be 2. So that's one necessary condition you are getting. Gamma should be necessarily 2. Okay. And further, every vertex must lie in a gamma set. That's also true. Right? Every vertex must lie in a gamma set.
No, it is just like what you were trying to tell based on the result of Sapat Kumar. That every vertex is gamma free. That means it belongs to some gamma set, not to every gamma set.
Right. And further, the number of gamma sets will be exactly the number of edges, because each dominating set will be a edge.
Endpoints of the edge.
Yes, endpoints of an edge. Because they will be collision partners, you see. Collision partner means union should be a dominating set. So there are so many properties coming for graphs with collision number N. Okay? Gamma is 2. Number of gamma sets is M. Every vertex lies in a gamma set. And so on. Okay? Fine. So, does every graph admit a C partition? That's a big problem. They have proved it in the base paper. Every graph admits a C partition. Okay? Every graph admits a collision partition. And the collision partition number lies between 1 and N. And the lower one comes only for K1. And N comes in several cases. Okay? So every graph admits a collision partition. Okay? every graph admits a collision partition. Okay, fine. Now, it is connected to the Domatic number. If a graph has no isolated vertices and no full degree vertex, then the collision partition number is more greater than or equal to twice the Domatic number and greater than or equal to 4. Recall what is Domatic number? Partition of the vertex set into dominating sets. Maximum order of a partition of the graph into dominating sets. If there is no full degree vertex, then each set will have cardinality at least 2. Okay, each set will have cardinality at least 2.
And
Each
here
of the dominating set. Right? For Domatic partition. For Domatic partition, okay, if there is no full degree vertex, every dominating set will have cardinality at least 2. So Domatic partition will be V1, V2, Vd, where each Va is greater than or equal to 2. Because each Va must be a dominating set. So that's the definition of Domatic partition. Let us be quickly. Domatic partition is maximum order of a partition of G into dominating sets. Okay? Into dominating sets. So if you take a Domatic partition and break each gamma set into 2 subsets, that is it. That will be a C partition. That is why you see that you are getting twice DG less than or equal to CG. So it's a connection between Domatic partition and the collision partition. Okay. Fine. Okay, this is all small observations. We shall skip it for the present so that we shall have more time. So here are some bounds. The collision partition number is greater than minimum degree plus 2. When there is no full degree vertex and no isolated vertex. So lower bound, the collision partition number is bounded below by delta plus 2. Okay, is bounded below by delta plus 2. Fine. And they have, if there are isolates, they have improved it. That's all. Fine. Then collision partition number is 1 if and only if it is K1. Collision partition number is 2 if and only if it is K2 or Kn bar. So small values are very comfortable to deal with. Okay. See, for this, it's 2 is obvious. Okay. Then 3 also they have finished completely, if and only if. So the base paper, they have finished with 1, 2, and 3. For 3 also they have put completely, it is either K3 or the star K1, n minus 1. See, for the star, the partition will be, take the center as one partition, pendants is split into 2 parts. That will be a collision partition. That's it. And for K3, it is all singleton partition. So collision number is 3 if and only if it is K3 or the star. It's completely solved. And beyond that, we don't know. So when it is 4, when it is 5, we don't know. If and only if theorems are not there. But examples are there. See, for a path, for example, the collision number doesn't go beyond 6. The collision number doesn't go beyond 6. And it's actually 6 when it is greater than or equal to 10. And for small values, it is 4, 5 or the number of vertices. So collision partition number of path is completely solved. Similarly, for cycles, it is only around 6. It doesn't go beyond 6. For cycles, the collision partition number is 6 when the cycle goes more than 8, and afterwards it is below that, it is number of vertices are 5. Good. Right. Now, they're associating a graph with a collision partition. That makes the subject very interesting now. You take a graph G and take a C partition. That's a collision partition. V1, V2, Vk is the collision partition. I am going to define a graph using this partition. The sets are the vertices for me. The sets are the vertices for me. I will say 2 vertices are adjacent if they are collision partners. That is, they are not dominating sets, but the union is a dominating set. Is it okay? Then the 2 vertices are adjacent. So I am defining a new graph starting from a C partition of the graph. So start with a C partition of the graph. If there are k sets in the partition, you take k vertices and join 2 vertices by an edge if the corresponding sets in the partition are collision partners. The corresponding sets in the partition are collision partners. Then you join them by an edge. So this is called the collision graph of the partition pi. The collision graph of the partition pi. So adjacency is Vi and Vj are not dominating sets, but the union is a dominating set. Then the vertices are adjacent. That graph is called the collision graph of the collision partition. I'll give an example that will make it very clear. Take this example. Here's a tree. All vertices with label 1 is V1. All vertices with label 2 is V2. All vertices with label 3 is V3. You see, V1 is not a dominating set. V1 is not a dominating set because the other pendant vertex is not dominated. So V1 is not a dominating set. What about V2? Is that a dominating set? Again not, because this other pendant is not dominated. So V2 is not a dominating set. V3 is also not a dominating set. So here all the 3 sets are not dominating sets. Okay, the partition has 3 members, V1, V2, V3. V1 consists of all vertices with label 1. V2 consists of all vertices with label 2. V3 consists of all vertices with label 3. Now, is V1 and V2 form collision partners? V1 and V2 together, do they form a collision partner? That is, you must check whether the union is a dominating set. We already checked.
Any pair forms the
V1 is not a dominating set. V2 is a dominating set, but the union is a dominating set.
Yes, sir.
Therefore, they are joined. Similarly, V1 is not a dominating set. V3 is not a dominating set, but the union is a dominating set. So they are joined. So you see, the collision graph becomes complete. The graph is bipartite, the collision graph is complete graph, not bipartite graph. So collision graphs comes like this. From the partition, you define a graph. Okay. Let me give some more examples, but I don't have it on the screen, but you can do it. See, for
Sir, each partition we take as a vertex.
See, each partite set gives one vertex.
Okay, sir.
Each partite set is one vertex.
Okay.
You see the definition. The collision graph is the graph whose vertex set is V1, V2, Vk corresponding to each of the sets V1, V2, Vk.
Okay, sir, I understood.
Yes. The
Sir,
vertex set is simply pi. You take it like that. The vertex set is simply pi. That's easier to understand.
sir, does that mean the correlation graph has isolated vertex only if the corresponding G has
can be
star
isolated
graph or a complete graph?
With the complete graph, the collision graph is Kn bar.
That's what. That and the star.
So you see, that's an interesting situation. G equal
Does that
to Kn.
mean, do we know when the correlation graph is connected?
Yes, that's a question. We shall come to that.
Okay, okay.
Now you see, for the complete graph, it's an interesting situation. G equal to Kn. The collision graph is Kn bar. Is that right?
Correct, correct.
The graph is Kn. The collision graph is Kn bar. Good. Let us take C5. Again, in C5, singletons form a collision partition. Is that correct?
Yes.
Singletons form a collision partition. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Because for V1, V3 is a partner, or V2 is V4 is a partner, right? So singletons form a collision partition. Draw the collision graph. V1 is, what are the collision partners of V1? V1, V3 are collision partners. So join.
Yes.
What about V1 and V4? Are they collision partners? No. Let us find
No.
Yeah. So for the C5, you take a singleton as the partition and form the collision graph. You can actually draw. V1 is joined.
No, but the adjacent vertices in CY do not form a domineting set. They have to be in a different parted set.
See, C5 is not even bipartite. It's an odd cycle.
Correct.
Taking C5 is not a bipartite graph, but singleton partition forms a collision partition. Okay? The singleton sets form a collision partition. Is that okay?
That's because gamma is 2.
Gamma is 2.
If you take any union of any two sets,
can be paired with another set.
Even if there are 3 adjacent vertices, the union forms a dominating set.
Right. But anyway, that is not our interest. Okay. It's a collision partition. Now, what's the collision graph? So those 5 vertices, you have to define the graph now. Now, adjacency is the union must be a dominating set. If V1, VA union Vj is a dominating set, you join them. So what are the neighbors of V1 now? V1, V3 is a dominating set. Yes. So V1 and V3 will be joined.
V1, V3, V1, V5.
V1, V4 will be joined. But not with V5.
V2, V5 and
V2, V4.
V2, V4. You complete it, you'll find that it's again C5.
Yes.
It is C5.
It's again C5. So we call it self-collision graph.
Analogous to self-complementary graph.
Self-collision graph. There is a collision partition. The collision graph is isomorphic to G itself.
Is there a characterization available?
Yes, there are problems to be discussed now.
Okay.
So many things are coming naturally. That's what I want to point out. Okay. So many things come normally. The collision graph can be the complement. Collision graph can be itself. Okay. Both examples we have seen. Good. Now you see, this is an interesting question. Which graphs are collision graphs of paths and cycles or trees? These are very interesting questions you can try. Take all possible collision partitions of path and try to see which graphs are coming as collision graph of those graphs. Right? And Hedethnami and this group, in the second paper, have proved a very beautiful theorem. It's a very lengthy proof. Proof runs to around 10 pages, they have proved that every graph is a collision graph. A fantastic theorem. Every graph is a collision graph. What's the meaning? Given a graph G, there's another graph H and a collision partition pi such that the collision graph of pi is isomorphic to G. Right? Every graph is a collision graph. There's a beautiful theorem that they have proved.
Is that something analogous to intersection graphs?
Right, every graph is an intersection graph. Harari gives it in the Finnish.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, a fundamental theorem. But that is trivial theorem. The proof is trivial. But here
we are talking about intersection graph with respect to collision.
It's not intersection
partitions.
Graph. It's not intersection graph. Union, each is not a dominating set, but union is a dominating set. That's correct. The adjacency is completely different.
Correct.
Okay. The adjacency is completely different. What they have proved is that given any graph G, I can find another graph H and a collision partition C of that graph such that the collision partition is isomorphic to the given graph G. So that's the meaning of saying that every graph is a collision graph. So with that theorem, the question is, which graphs are collision graph of path? Which graph is a collision graph of cycle? Which graph is a collision graph of a tree? Comes like that. Sub-problems, right? There are interesting problems for study. Which
but
graphs
the partitions of this need not be unique, no, sir?
Partitions need not be unique.
In that case,
then the partition is isomorphic to our graph, it is enough. What's the
okay, not every partition.
Not every partition.
Okay.
Which graphs come as collision graph of a path? Okay, that's all. For the same graphs, we will have several partitions. Each will give you a graph. That's how it comes. Good. For example, here C3 is a collision graph. This is one example. Okay, C3 is a collision graph. But C3 can come as a collision graph of another partition also. Right?
Yeah, non-isomorphic graphs can have the same collision graph.
Right. There can be several solutions. Right. Fine. So you see that self-collision graphs. Complete bipartite graph is self-collision graph. Because its collision graph is isomorphic to itself. So, which graphs are collision graphs? Self-collision graphs. Some further work has taken place. Then, which graphs are singleton collision graphs? Which graph singletons forms the collision partition? That is gamma must be 2. And there are some classes of graphs like this. Okay. Then they depend on the refinement of a partition, and they've got some more interesting things. Anyway, we shall skip this for one topic. So we already crossed the minimum time. Okay. So I think there are so many unsolved problems. Can we look for K-party collection?
Are both the papers from the same author, sir?
Yes, they have 5 publications on this now, as on today.
Oh, 5 already. Okay.
There are 4 here. One I put it.
The first is AKCE journal.
No, these are other journals.
No, the first one is AKCE.
The first paper is in AKCE journal. The other papers are, some of them are accepted, some of them are under the review. So they have written 5 papers on this, and so many directions are available for further research. It's a very interesting concept. But you see, can you think of K-party collision? That's a very interesting problem which I want to see. If, for example, in Maharashtra, the present government is 3-party collision, right? So how to model 3-party collision? They have tried something, but it is not very well formulated. We can think about it. Try to think of multi-party coalition. That will be an interesting problem. More relevant in the Indian context, where we have multi-party.
With reference to the application, by multi-party coalition, you mean union of 3 sets becomes or 4 sets, 5 sets like
Even
that.
2 of them do not form a dominating set.
Yeah, that's what. 2 should not form.
2 of them also union is not dominating. Only when all of them come together, it's a dominating set.
3 is a dominating set. Union of 3.
Yeah. Right. There are so many problems which I have posted in the base paper itself and subsequent papers also. There are more than 15 problems, very interesting problems which have to be addressed. It's good topic for a thesis. Okay. So now we can discuss or we can wind up. We have crossed the time, minimum time already.
Dear participants, any more questions?
Sir, am I audible, sir?
Yeah, sure.
So besides, other than the parliamentary system, do we have any application?
That we don't know, because the concept is it's relevant. Whenever even collaboration we can think about. You see.
Okay.
See, I am not able to write a paper independently on my own. I need a collaborator. That's good. The paper becomes a better paper.
Okay.
Collaboration is essentially a collaboration model. Working in a collaboration model, right?
Okay.
2 people come together and they are able to do better. That is how you have to look at it. Individually, they are not dominating, but when they come together, they are able to dominate.
Okay,
So it can be modeled for several things. Okay.
Okay. Sir, one more doubt.
Yeah.
Do we have any strategy to find the upper bound and lower bound for collision number in some special classes of graphs?
See, that problem is even algorithmically they are saying, even whether CG equal to 4 or not, can you determine polynomial time? They put it as an open problem.
Yes.
Is it possible to determine in polynomial time whether there is a collision or partition of order 4? Even that they are saying is difficult.
Okay.
Yeah. So algorithmically the problem must be difficult. So we have to think of which graphs admit a polynomial time algorithm to determine the collision parts number by figure.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have mentioned yesterday that you introduced this paper in another workshop, this topic. So I have also attended that conference.
Okay. Right. In Raman College.
And I have mailed you.
And give the best paper to you.
Yes, on the basis that we have tried to study collision partition in a special structure.
Okay.
But we have some doubt. Can I contact you for the clarification?
If you give the exact doubt, I can answer and go further. No problem.
Okay.
We can collaborate and make it a good paper. No problem.
Okay.
No,
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Any more questions from the participants? Deepa Lakshmi.
Yes, ma'am. Sir, good afternoon, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, actually, my question is about yesterday's class. It's about that second type, that is for a graph as well as for the induced subgraph of the graph, finding the domination number.
Whether it goes down or goes up.
Yeah, equal. Yes, sir. Actually, I'm having a graph. It's actually part of a grid graph.
Okay.
So for a grid, everything is already it's clear. All the domination number, it's for all the size, it's solved. but my part it's exactly the below the diagonal part. I'm actually trying to get the solution for that. I'm not getting some technical approach.
Okay.
So, is there any guidance for that?
So, what is the exact problem you want to find? For which induced subgraph?
Induced. My graph is exactly the part below the main diagonal of grid.
That's induced subgraph of the grid.
Yes, a square grid.
It's induced subgraph of the grid.
Yes, sir. So once again, the domination sets, it's not at all unique. So I'm not able to get any closed form for that.
Is gamma has less than or equal to gamma g is the question.
Yes, sir.
That is, you have to find whether there is a gamma. Gamma.
So what is that relation? How can we expect for the induced subgraph and the graph? Okay, sir.
That's a major unsolved. So we can't generally talk about only for
grid alone, for square grid.
Right. See, even for Queen's graph, it is unsolved.
Yes, sir.
It's a very small graph, a very thickly printed graph. Even for that graph, open for more than 150 years. So it's fundamentally a difficult problem.
Okay, sir. So I'm spending some time on it. So that's why I'm asking, is there any technique? Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
I think there is no more questions.
Okay.
Then, on behalf of all the participants, let me thank the speaker for his nice presentation.
Ma'am?
Or to Binsi. Yeah, Binsi.
Okay. A very good evening to one and all. I am Binsi CJ, research scholar, Bharatamaata College, Thrikakara. I am so privileged to propose a vote of thanks to our most respected speaker, dear Armugam sir. As Pramadam is mentioned yesterday that Vijaykumar sir made many of his students graph theory lovers. Armugam sir, you made me a lover of graph domination. I choose my area of research as graph domination after hearing your talks and reading some of your papers. So, your class is very interesting and understandable to all the beginners. So, as a participant, I express my sincere gratitude to you, sir, from the bottom of my heart. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all for being here. Do remember to log into next session on time. Next session will be tomorrow at 12 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you, dear Anu. Thank you, Armugam sir.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.